Hello, everybody. My name is Theresa Bobrowsky, and I am from the Departures Travel Office in Sidney, BC. And I am running an exclusive art, wine, and design safari in Cape Town, South Africa in 2021 from the 13th of September to the 24th of September. And I've been giving brief travel talks over the last few weeks just to give an idea about the tour and some of the things that could be done around the tour. So I will jump right in. First, how to ask questions. If you can email me at teresa@departurestravel.com, I will review my emails at the end of the session. And if you happen to be working with a Departures Travel consultant, please include their name and I will make sure that they get your name. Or you can contact them directly for assistance, whatever is most convenient for you. So the presentation will provide a brief recap of Talk 1 and Talk 2. If you haven't seen them, this talk may not resonate well with you, but I try to appeal to everyone on the call. We'll talk about the leisure time schedule, considerations about leisure time, some optional activities, how to best customize your leisure time, and how and when to book activities. And throughout the presentation, I'll try and talk about a few different ideas about that. So the first talk was on the 21st of July, and it went over just a high-level review of the itinerary with my supplier in Cape Town. He joined us and gave us a bit of information. And then after that, I talked about some of the inclusions and exclusions and general information about the program. The second talk last week on the 28th of July was about COVID challenges. What are the problems today? We discussed protocols for the different environments that this tour would take us to, like the hotels, transportation, restaurants, and some of the touring venues. And then really the outcome of the talk was really around adaptation being key as COVID continues and we learn more. Now, the leisure time schedule, it is intentionally left most of the evenings free. The first evening, we will be having a welcome dinner, but for the duration of the tour until our final evening on the 11th day of the tour for the farewell dinner, evenings are free, and there is a little bit of time one afternoon in Stellenbosch. So this was intentional because there is just so much to do. And while everyone on the tour will be coming because they have a certain interest in the theme of the tour, it doesn't mean that everyone will want to do the same thing in the evenings or that everyone will want to eat in the same restaurant. So we added this flexibility for everyone. Now, with regards to leisure time, big thing is they are optional, like the activities in your leisure time are optional and are not included in the pricing. Some of the activities need to be arranged months in advance just because of the popularity. And even if, next September, even if COVID is really settled down, which we hope it will, there will be reduced capacity at a lot of the venues. So if a venue previously was able to accept 50 people at a time, they might be down to 25. So we really have to watch that. And that's what I'll be monitoring with my supplier in Cape Town. And then customizing experiences, really, the sky is the limit in terms of what we can do. And it's really important that you take away from your experience in Cape Town and South Africa what you want. So I'm really encouraging people to look at what they want to do and understand what's available. And then if all in the group, for example, wanted to do the same activity one evening, it might be more cost effective to go as a group, unless people prefer to go on their own, but it's something I could look into for the group, and perhaps it would mean a cost savings. And then finally, in terms of privately organizing leisure time, of course, people can do as they please, but it will be really important to ensure that any touring or activities outside of the tour program align very precisely to the tour program, because it can't be held up waiting for someone. Now, in Cape Town, Nelson Mandela's presence, or the late Nelson Mandela's presence, is still very powerful. There is the Robben Island Museum, where Mandela was held for 27 years, and it absolutely must be booked in advance. If you show up even a week, you say, okay, well, we're here and we'll go in a week, there is a very high probability you will not get a ticket. This tour is also subject to weather and sea conditions. It's about a half-hour boat ride from the V&A waterfront area where our hotel is to Robben Island. So, and it's about a 5-minute walk, which is really nice. And it is around $120 per person. That's the boat ride, the guided tour, and the visit through the museum. And there is a hop-on, hop-off bus. And my husband and I both agreed that it is the most beautiful hop-on, hop-off bus experience we've ever had anywhere in the world. The route goes from, very busy urban right to these absolutely majestic landscapes and beach towns and up to Table Mountain. It is absolutely phenomenal. So highly recommended. And the pickup point for where the hotel is, it is about a 4-minute walk. So very easy. And it's only about $40. So highly recommended, just to get a sense of the city and the outlying areas. Now, Table Mountain itself, it's truly, truly breathtaking, no matter what the weather is doing, unless it's completely socked in. But you can take a cable car up and you can rappel down. You can get there by the hop-on, hop-off bus. And the cable car itself, I've got a picture there in the lower right-hand corner. It spins very, very slowly, so everyone gets a view. And so there's no need to panic to rush into the car and get a great vantage point, because everyone gets a good view. You can arrange to do a guided hike as well. You can book so you're up there for sunset. And typically you will encounter a lineup even if you have pre-purchased a ticket, but the cable cars are quite sizable and the line does move quite quickly. So once you're there, it's about $40, which is very reasonable considering the logistics of providing the service, and just a really great walk around up top as well. So worth the time, very touristy, but one of those things you just almost can't miss. And now District 6 Museum. This area, it was a neighborhood in Cape Town, and during the 70s, it was declared to be a white-only area. And it was, at the time, a thriving, culturally diverse community of non-whites, and they were forcibly removed from their homes, and the entire neighborhood was razed to the ground. So since the release of Nelson Mandela and apartheid falling out of favor of some people, the people now, there's a land restitution process, and so people that were forcibly removed are now coming back into the area, and this incredible museum was created, and the tour guides that you will walk with through District 6 Museum are people that were forcibly removed. And so you are getting firsthand stories and accounts of what happened and what's happening now as it's turned from something very negative into something important for everyone. So, and the museum, it's very economical, about $15 for a guided tour, and it's a very short cab ride from the hotel. highly recommended that this be taken in if time permits. And then there's something a little bit more off the beaten path. It's the Crypt Supper Club. It's a jazz club in Cape Town. And so if you love jazz, love live music, this is great. It really is a crypt in an old cathedral. They've in the last year or two, they've built a restaurant. So you can go, you can arrange for dinner, to have a table, listen to some music. And again, short taxi ride from the hotel. And if you want to book out a table, like for a group, there's a $50 deposit. It's roughly $50 Canadian. So again, highly recommended. And I mean, I could literally go for hours to talk about what the things are that are available, the tours and opportunities once in Cape Town. So they have an old cinema, the La Villa Theatre Cinema, and I personally have not gone to it, but the person that I'm working with for this tour says it is such a Cape Townian thing to do, to go watch some Art Nouveau films. And so again, if it's something to your taste, that might be a lot of fun. And then opera, there is an opera house, Artscape Opera House. Again, if there's something playing during that time, during the tour, it's something that I could arrange tickets for anyone in the group. And then Cape Town is an area is known for adrenaline sports, skydiving, zip lining, abseiling or rappelling. There is so much for adrenaline junkies. It could be a lot of fun. There is also cage diving as per the first slide, but it actually takes 3 hours to get to the site where you would be more likely to see great whites. And the season when we're there is a little bit off, but it's something that could be looked into. If you don't see great whites, there would be other shark and marine life you would see. And then Cape Town, an area with the wine country so nearby, and all this beautiful fresh seafood, it is, and all the game, meat as well. It's just a mecca for food, cooking, and wine. So endless options of like cooking classes and tastings and sort of progressive dinners in the restaurants, and that it's if anyone is really into food, then Cape Town is going to be just a delight for you. Now, gin distilleries, there are 10 and counting gin distilleries in and around Cape Town. It's very, very popular, and any kind of tastings, like you can go out and spend half a day, sort of around the tour, go out for an evening. And there's also, it's called the Watershed, and it literally, you step out the door of the hotel for this tour, and it literally is maybe, maybe 100 meters, if that, to get to the Watershed. And what it is, it's this huge, almost like artisan artist co-op. There are many kiosks and booths, and it's all artists doing all sorts of interesting things. We have right from very elegant clothes design, children's clothing, there's linens, there's paintings, carvings, lots of art that is done with recycled materials. So it is absolutely fabulous to wander around, even if for an hour, and take in the incredible art. And this is where you really see the diversity of the art and the creativity at its best. It's really quite a beautiful spot, and it's, again, very close to the hotel. Beading classes, traditional beading has really started to have a significant comeback, and any market you might go to, you'll see women, typically women, sitting there just beading away, and they do beaded masks, it's jewelry, it is just a huge range of things. So very lovely stuff, great for bringing home. It's lightweight, it's so great for little travel gifts and that. And then out steps from the hotel, we're right on the waterfront, so there's all kinds of boating opportunities, whether you want to go out and have like maybe a evening dinner cruise, or if you'd like to just go out and see the coastline. There's many things, many opportunities. Even if you want to go kayaking, there is, again, lots to do, all different price ranges. So, something to meet everybody's budget. And then a lot of people like to go out and tour in the townships, and some are more able to receive tourists than others, but again, very insightful. It's a great way to learn more about the history of Cape Town and South Africa and the effects of apartheid. So not necessarily super fun kind of thought. It might leave you sort of afterwards deep in thought, and but again, worth seeing. So now we've spent a bunch of nights in Cape Town, and we've headed off to Stellenbosch for the wine and food sort of theme part of the tour. So we have a full day in Stellenbosch. The 11th day of the tour is open. We have a farewell dinner in the evening, but people have an opportunity to actually book a full day. There's a language monument out in Paarl, and this is very important to the local communities. It's about the Afrikaner language and the politics around it, and it's a very important monument for South Africans. And then there is a ton of wine, but there's also what they say champagne. I'm not sure that term is actually official, but it's the Methode Cap Classique tour. Again, full day with lunch, and it's more into the bubblies. So really highly recommended. And there are breweries, just as there are distilleries, there are breweries which can work out to a full day tour out and go for lunch. And as well, there are so many beautiful vineyards and wine estates throughout Stellenbosch. It's absolutely possible to arrange additional touring if there's somewhere you specifically want to go. That can be arranged. And then there's just simple tours like touring around Stellenbosch. There's a number of walking tours. There's beautiful architecture there, the old Dutch architecture, and lots of history, of course. So again, the sky is the limit. And then there's things like the wellness activities, like spa visits, yoga classes, really anything you want to do, and some very beautiful spas. So again, great opportunities. And in the bottom right-hand corner is a statue of two monkeys, and it's called Monkey Business, and it's really adorable. And you'll see it if you're in Stellenbosch. It's on one of the main streets, and it's quite a fun piece of art. So, and if you really want to get out, if maybe you don't have time to consider a wildlife safari before or after the tour, there is the Ashia Cheetah Sanctuary. It's out in Paarl, and it's internationally known and respected wildlife sanctuary. They do not permit interactions with the animals, so there's no petting cubs or getting pictures with the babies and that. That's just not the type of sanctuary it is. These animals are being repatriated to the wild if possible, so they limit the human interactions. So, but you can volunteer. They have a volunteer program that you pay for. It's not that expensive, and you can go for a day, or you can go for a number of days and even stay at the sanctuary. And if you were considering staying at the sanctuary maybe after the tour or before the tour, they have very limited guest space, so it's something you would have to book extremely early. And so again, that's there's a lot of things, and with not knowing what the impact of COVID is on potential volumes of guests at different venues. That's also something to be taken into consideration. So, summary of leisure time. Again, endless list of options in and around Cape Town, all tastes and interests. I'm hoping to actually do a street art tour, and not urban art. I mean street art, like the some people call graffiti, but and they have them. So I'm looking into those for myself. Cape Town is a major international city. It's recognized for its creatives, art, food, culture, and pathway to justice. It just has everything, and it is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to, ever anywhere in the world, and I've been to many beautiful cities. So now you will have likely traveled a huge distance to get to Cape Town. So I really encourage people with their leisure time to really take advantage of it, because there's just so much for you to see and do outside of this tour. And of course, I always recommend leaving some spare time just to enjoy and to wander and make spontaneous decisions into what you want to do that evening or anytime we have free. And again, with everything right now, it is expected, they're anticipated that by September 2021 that travel will have returned to some level of normalcy is not the correct word, but that it will be more open. So with not knowing, it's unclear in terms of pricing and availability of tickets or access to venues. So again, that's just something to keep in mind as you think about whether this tour is for you, or you've booked and you would like to start really digging down into what's possible. So customizing your time, as I said earlier, people of course are free to make their arrangements privately as long as they align to the schedule of the tour. But I would encourage, if you do want help, 8 months out from the travel date, that we could meet and talk about preferences and really start digging down into what types of things you'd like to do, or the things that you just don't want to miss while you're there. And from that, we can now develop a tailored program. And for items that really must be booked early, get them booked. I also have access to private cars and guides to take you out on private tours, which is always a really nice option. It gives you tremendous flexibility. They tend to cost a little bit more, but if you decide you want to stay somewhere, that's where you'll be, which is a really nice way to tour sometimes. And I can certainly help arrange any event tickets, restaurant reservations, anything like that, drivers, that's all something I can assist with, and make sure that you get what you need while you're there. So the next talk, I've finished up. I try to make these not last too long, but I just wanted to give a little peek into talk 4, which is about pre and post travel around this tour. And of course, we will talk about wildlife safaris. And this is a family that I was almost able to touch from the table I was sitting at. And these 2 youngsters, the ranger explained that they were probably maybe 2 months old, and that they were the youngest they had actually seen that season, and that their trunks were sort of flailing about, and it's just they haven't quite got control of them. So it was really a lot of fun to see these. And there will be a lot more about safaris on the next talk. So I will end with that and just say thank you very much for attending. Now, if I'm going to just take a quick look at my email to see if anyone has sent anything in. If you haven't, you can reach me through Eventbrite. or again on this Facebook Live page, you can message me through the page, and I would be happy to get back to you, answer any questions. And you're welcome to provide feedback. I know that PowerPoint presentations are sort of a little old-fashioned now with all the media we have, but I just needed to get the information out in a way that people could look at it without me being there. So I'll just check my email. Okay, I do not see anything. So I just want to thank everybody for attending. And I hope you will join me in the fourth and final talk about what can be done before the tour or after the tour, given you will have traveled many, many kilometers or miles to get to Cape Town. So thank you, everybody.